we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through, no limit to what we can do.
I don't know why anyone would willingly choose to look like a normal human. Do you? Let's go get some lunch. Where's Boney?
Okay, everybody. I don't know why anybody would choose to look like a normal human either. It's great to see everybody here today. Let's see who's here. Chuck is here. I got some stuff from Chuck coming up. He sent in a music video, essentially, of a band down there in Long Beach. Jose Salas is here. Happy Commando Friday, as they say. Kamala is here. She loves the theme song.
Me too.
I love that carousel, too, yeah. Yes, I love the cats. The Bloss is here. Cody Francis does the theme song. That's his name, Cody Francis. Love that song too. That cat needs to explain himself. Yeah, the cat on the right, he's pretty silent. We got a cool cat on the show today. I'm really looking forward to it. Nathan Cook, he is extraordinary, an extraordinary human being that Matt Wright introduced me to. There's Matt right there. Hoy. Holy CeeLo. Cats aren't real. Oh no, cats are real, I think. That'd be a much better surveillance tool, I think, than birds, because they're in the houses, you know. But also, you know, I'm thinking maybe we should start the show. But first, I want to mention to you that our guest from last Friday, Melinda Hill, she's going to be at, oh, not that one. She's going to be, oh, yes. Do I even have it? I don't know. Yeah, I do. I have it. Melinda Hill. So she's going to be at the Clubhouse in Los Feliz tonight. She's doing a residency in there, which I think is really kind of a cool thing. She's workshopping her show, her one-woman show, the next one that she's doing. So if you want to just go to that, see her workshop that, 8:30 to 9:30 tonight in Los Feliz at the Clubhouse on Vermont, for those of you people that might be in Los Angeles. And then for other people that might be in Los Angeles and might be free tomorrow night, I'm at the Fourth Wall, 9:45, Comedy Fire. I want to mention that Joseph Ryan Martinez is going to be there as well, which is, you know, he was on the show, of course. I'm not sure which episode it was, but you can see him doing his comedy because everybody loves him. He's just really funny and really like off the cuff and improvisational, so that should be really neat. Isn't that pronounced Los Feliz? I don't know how you're pronouncing it. Everybody says Los Feliz around here for some reason. Cats are our masters. My master is a cat named Charlie Brown. Yep. That's my cat's name. I didn't name him, but it's a good one. It suits him. Totally suits him. All right, let's get into the show. It's called Lunch Therapy, Interview Friday. We had a request for bunnies with Easter coming up. One of our viewers requested that we have some bunnies, so I just wanted to do that for you, provide that for you today. This is a very large bunny. I don't know what his name was. This one, they might not have names. I don't know if bunnies give each other names. They might be named or something like that. I was a big fan of Watership Down when I was a kid. I had a couple of pet bunnies. I love them. I love rabbits. They're not always the cuddliest of pets because they kick the crap out of you with their big nails. And I used to have big welts on my arm, but I consider them love welts. And also when they get away, oh, man, they are so hard to catch, I tell you. So happy Easter weekend to all of you that celebrate Easter weekend, but also those that don't. Happy anyway, right? Happy to everybody. We're going to find out something about that today with our discussion with Nathan Cook, which is about being all unified, regardless of what your religion is, regardless of what your background is, your cultural history, all that stuff. We are all connected. We are all one. That is something that we definitely encourage here at Lunch Therapy, that we're not ranked or we're not in our little bubble. Wild rabbits are all over my neighborhood. That's working out way better than our pet bunny. Wild rabbits? In Washington? Wow. Holy hummingbirds. Happy Passover. Happy Hassan Pfeffer. All right, let's get into our breathing so we can get Nathan on. All right. Oh, Blas, there you are. Yep. There he is. Yeah, you wanted to be on for the breathing, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I love the breathing. Man.
Okay, now
How's everybody doing out there? How the hummingbirds doing?
Everybody seems to be doing quite well. I'll speak for them. Doing great, Blas. Celebrate our similarities. Hello.
What are we doing here? We're
gonna breathe, but first I want to. We're on Twitch. We're on Instagram. We're not on Instagram. Because Instagram requires us to be vertical, and that's very difficult.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And we like to lie down. That's
right. Craig Wordle got a pellet gun to take care of the wild rabbits running around their backyard. Oh no! Easy, buddy. Easy now.
Are they jackrabbits or just wild rabbits?
I've got a shirt that I wear around that has a cat with a grenade. You got to be careful. Bunnies could be armed.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Blas.
They multiply so fast. Fast.
They're like rabbits.
Rabbits. There was one rabbit on my mom's yard a couple of years ago, just running around in there. It's kind of a sort of a compound situation.
Yeah.
So animals can't get in and out because of our dogs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, one rabbit showed up, and it wasn't but like 3 to 4 weeks later there were 3.
It happens fast.
Running around. I was like,
it's like the hummingbirds that are laying eggs in our front yard. Spring has sprung. Things are going to be all over the place, all kinds of creatures. Hopefully we'll bring some more on the show, maybe some live ones. But now I want to switch gears here because you were telling me about someone who's in the hospital. Can you tell us about that? Because we want to send out some healing vibrations their way.
That's what we're looking for. We want people in her thoughts. My mother-in-law, Jenny, Grandma Jenny, last weekend or 2 weekends ago actually was suffering from some abdominal pains. She had a fever, and my wife, she went up there to visit her for the week because I had another great aunt who had passed. So my mom, my sister, and Celia went up for the services. But Celia went to her mother's house to spend time with her for the week, and her mother was fine the whole week. They were hanging out, they went out, they go out to eat, they go shopping, they hang out. And then as soon as Celia left and came back, her mother had pains again. It was really strange. So our niece Jeanette lives with her. and works and lives with her. And she took her to urgent care about 4 days ago, and they found out that she was passing a gallstone.
Wow.
And you know how painful that could be.
Oh my God, that's painful. I've
After
heard
a
about
CT, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
After a CT scan and some blood work, they realized that her gallbladder was swelling. So today, right after the show, between 1 and 1:30, around that time, they're taking her in to remove her gallbladder.
Okay.
And my mother-in-law is, I believe she's about 83 years old, 82, 83. And, you know, we just want everyone to keep her in your thoughts and prayers. And let's help her hope for a very speedy and healthy recovery.
That's right.
Because everybody knows at that age, it's difficult to go in for some type of surgery or any procedure.
Oh my gosh.
And she's a very strong woman. She's very, you know, she's very independent. She still drives and drives well. And, you know, her husband had passed quite a few years ago, and she's been doing it, man. She's just been doing it on her own. And we wish her best through this procedure, and we got a lot of love and thoughts and prayers going out to her.
All right.
I have a very big family, so we're all doing the same thing.
We're all sending it out. All the hummingbirds are sending out the healing vibrations, wishing her well. Let's do our breaths and we're going to enlist the help of the Healing Vibrations, which is the great YouTube channel that we worship on this show. So let's do that. Let's breathe. You want to lead the breathing?
Yeah. We're going to take three, thank you, Joel. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. We're going to hold it in for a little bit, and then we're going to release it. We're going to act like we're blowing through a straw when we release, so we can all have this healing moment. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Allow yourself to relax and clear your mind. Let it go.
That was a good one.
Empty your lungs. Let your shoulders drop.
Let all that air out.
Yeah, let all that bad out. Let's take in some more good air. Big deep breath. In through the nose. Hold it. Out through the toes. Always feels so good. All right, this is our third and last.
I'm taking my shoes off.
Oh, it's Barefoot Tuesday. Yeah. Oh no, it's not.
Barefoot Friday.
It's fine. The week's been crazy. Take a deep breath. Hold it. You're welcome to breathe too, Nathan.
Oh, he's breathing. He's doing it.
There we go. Let it out. Open the toes. Let your shoulders drop.
I can see Nathan in the green room with Boney. He's even got Boney doing it. Boney is breathing. That's a first.
Nobody gets Boney to breathe.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Boney is breathing. I can see his voice.
Oh, that felt so good.
Moving in and out. Yeah.
Oh, really good.
It's cool. All right. So
real nice.
Now that we've got Jenny,
in our thoughts and prayers, and take us, Joel. Let's do this thing called lunch therapy.
Okay, we're gonna get right into the interview, but first I want to show you Chuck Goldsmith was in Long Beach, and he caught a band. And you know what? He caught the band Peace Child. The band is called Peace Child. No, we don't know what the band is called. But we caught the band. He caught the band just before they were arrested. So this is an exclusive. Feeling the good energy. This is them.
Oh, because they're out on the parking lot.
They're taking up maybe 2 or 3 parking spaces, I think. And so they didn't like that, I don't think. There's somebody that comes.
Look at these guys, man.
They're good, man, and they're bringing it.
Good music.
Here comes the SUV. They're like, we're calling the police. No, I don't know if that person did that.
Nobody called me. I play keyboards.
Yeah, anyway, so that's cool. That band, we don't know who they are, but they are very cool. Very cool. All right, so now it's time man. It's time for the Interview Friday. We're going to be doing this thing. All right, so I got some sharks behind me, and I'm always trying to up the PR for the sharks. You know, I want the sharks to be loved as well, because if we're all one, we're sharks too.
Hey, man.
So
just living their life.
I am not. Yeah. All right. They're just living their lives. Exactly. So I've got Nathan in the green room. Nathan, I found through Matt Wright. Luckily, Matt Wright had turned me on to this guy's YouTube channel, and it's just starting out, and it's just powerful. And I'm going to show you just a little bit of it when we go into the intro here. And I'm going to let this conversation flow, but I just want to tell you he had a near-death experience similar to how many people have we had on the show in the last month that had near-death experiences. We had 3. This is our 3rd interview Friday where the person had a near-death experience and it changed their whole life. Yeah.
I'm sure that can have some impact.
Oh my gosh, yeah. All right, let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. Everybody love the Sharks. And it is now Interview Friday with Nathan Cook.
How often are you not present with your child or your spouse? How much time do you spend each day thinking about something that happened to you in the past, feeling miserable about yourself? Or how often are you thinking about the future, getting anxiety, anticipating something? Well, let me share this with you. We don't have a past. We don't have a future. We only have now. All of eternity is happening right now. All the time in the world, all the time in the universe is happening right now. Live for now, because this is all you have. This was the start of my spiritual journey, but let's go on this journey of life together. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting a video once a week. And let's just not get old together, let's grow together. Bye for now.
Nathan Cook! Yeah! Welcome to Lunch Therapy.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Blas. I appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you here. As I said, Matt Wright showed me your channel. We had Angelo DeLulo on the show, who is also a person who is is putting out a lot of information about non-duality. And I just love the energy of your videos. I love that you are taking the time to express to other people what you've found. And let's get into this thing. I want to find out, first of all, because I know you're in Jacksonville, Florida. Is that where you are right now?
Yep, that's correct.
Is that where you grew up?
No, I actually grew up in Maryland.
In Maryland, yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
Cool. All right, let's hear from Maryland. Yeah. All our Maryland viewers out there. So you grew up in Maryland, and what was your upbringing like?
So in terms of upbringing, I was raised by my mom. She raised me and my little sister. So initially, I was raised by my mom and my dad, but my dad was addicted to heroin. So he was out of my life at the age of 11. And then once he was out of my life, things pretty much went haywire for a little bit for me. At the age of 13, I was arrested. I got arrested for breaking and entering, loitering, trespassing, and vandalism. Caused my mom a lot of pain. Yeah. But as things went on, she helped me get on the right path. I'm not going to say the right path, but she helped me change the direction of my life and got into a home-based business. And that's when I started into the motivational field, and I did pretty well in that. And later on in life, I started my own business in terms of doing motivational speaking. And then when COVID hit, I lost all my contracts. I lost pretty much everything I had going on for my business. And then I sold my house. And then that's the reason I ended up coming down to Jacksonville to be near my family.
Wow, that's so interesting. So you had a whole business going, being a motivational speaker.
Yes, correct. I spoke for the American Cancer Society. I had my own business. I spoke at many events, spoke at businesses. So totally different life than what I'm experiencing now.
And was that before or after your near-death experience?
This was before my near-death experience.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How did that happen? What happened in your near-death experience? And how did it affect you?
Okay, so I do want to take this back a little bit further.
Oh,
So
good.
I ended up getting a divorce, and my divorce was one of the reasons why I moved down to Florida, because as my family started to get older, they retired, they came to Florida. And after I got my divorce, COVID hit. I was like, I want to be close to my family. So I sold my home to be close to my family. If I would have never got my divorce, I would have never had my near-death experience, and I wouldn't be experiencing what I'm experiencing right now. So I'm so thankful for that moment. And it just shows that when we're going through hard times in life or challenging situations, we really can't base the situation if how it's going to really impact our life, because we have to give it time to give perspective. And now that I'm looking back, I'm just so thankful that I had that divorce. So in terms of my near-death experience, I love to snowboard. And now that I'm in Florida, I can't get in my car and drive a couple of hours away to a ski resort.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to get me an electric skateboard. So that way it'll be like I'm snowboarding, but I'm on pavement.
Concrete.
Concrete, exactly, yes. So
I see where this is going.
Yep, absolutely. And I ended up getting an electric skateboard called an Evolve. They actually are out of Cali, and the skateboard went up to around 24 miles per hour.
Wow.
And that's exactly how fast I was going. And 2 weeks prior to my trip, 2 weeks prior, I was going to take a trip to Thailand. And I was like really excited about this trip. And I remember I was on a trail thinking about going to Thailand, thinking about having a good time, seeing my friends that are there. And while I'm riding my skateboard, for whatever reason, my thumb just presses on the brake.
Wait, so it has a little throttle? Has a little throttle?
Yes. Yes, it's a remote control.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
Your thumb just pressed on the brake. You're like, I'm so excited about Thailand. And then you just
right.
self-destructed.
Right, I'm about to go there right now. Pew! So I pressed the brake.
Yeah.
And I'm flying forward.
Yeah.
And even while I'm flying forward, I didn't even know that I pressed the brake. Like my mind was somewhere else.
Wow.
And then boom. And once I didn't even know I failed. I just went into this dream state.
Yeah.
Where I had these visions of how my life could have been. And that was one, me being brain dead and my mom having to make a decision if she's going to pull the plug or not. And then the other situation was me being paralyzed from the neck down. Wow. And I saw my life being paralyzed from the waist, the neck down, living with my mom, her having to feed me, having to bathe me. And then I just woke up. And then that's when I realized that I fell. And I was busted up. I don't know if you can see, but I was busted up here. My ribs had cracked ribs. My back was jacked up.
This is your helmet. Here's your helmet.
Yes, correct.
It's broken.
So, correct.
Like,
I've never even known for a helmet to crack or break.
Yeah.
So, I'm literally bleeding all over the place. My remote looks like it blew up. I mean, it's in particles.
Yeah.
And when I got my composure and I realized like what just happened, that's when I experienced, I didn't even know the terminology at that point, but that's when I experienced this thing called oneness or non-duality. And I just had this euphoric feeling. And not only that, I felt like some knowledge got downloaded in my mind.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but I just felt like I was connected to everything. I mean, literally everything. And things just started to be different for me, where my first thought was, I'm no longer a Christian. That was my very first thought.
That was your first thought? Wow.
My very first thought. Bleeding, jacked up, the whole world is shaking because I had vertigo. And that was my very first thought. It just made no sense for me to have this label.
Yeah.
When we're born from this earth.
Yeah.
And these labels that we have, we place them on ourselves. Nobody
Yeah.
placed them on us. And then that's what's causing a separation. And I know when I was a Christian, I wasn't willing to be as loving to a Muslim. I wasn't being as loving to someone who was an atheist. And that just didn't make sense to me. So
Yeah.
I just looked at life totally different. I mean, totally different. And not only
So-
that, but
Yeah.
oh,
Were there other labels that you like all of a sudden were like, I'm no longer this, I'm no longer a Democrat
Yes,
or Republican,
absolutely.
I'm no longer, any of these other labels that I have? Yeah.
yes. So the first thought was, I'm no longer a Christian. The
Yeah.
second thought was, I'm no longer Republican. Because if someone was a Democrat, I was willing to argue with them about
Yeah.
how this viewpoint was compared to mine.
Yeah.
And then, in terms of like arguing with people, it just made no sense. And then even the fact that I was making the claim that I was an American.
Uh-huh.
How can we have world peace if I have country pride? Oh, I'm American. When I'm going to this country, I'm number one. I live in the best country in the world.
Yeah.
And it just didn't
Wow.
make sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like an us and them kind of situation that you put yourself in. When we make ourselves in these groups, sometimes we become like, oh, well, we're excluding ourselves from this other group because we're a different group and we have different beliefs. When a lot of times religion, there's different players, different characters in the stories that we tell, but a lot of them come down to the same fundamental beliefs, which is to be kind to
Exactly.
one another and be humble and just do unto others as you would have them do unto you, essentially.
Absolutely.
So you also said that you had this, all of a sudden, this feeling of love, like this warm feeling of love. Can you describe that?
So, like the love that I felt, I've never experienced this type of love from my own mother. I mean, it magnified the type of love that you can get from any relationship, any parent, anything, even a pet. I mean, this love was just so pure, and I felt it within me. It just felt like I was being loved from the inside out versus having an external love. It was something that was within me. And even while I was feeling all that love, like I didn't feel the pain. I just felt this love. It was just pure bliss.
Yeah.
And I just knew that even if I died, I was still going to be here. And that was so comforting for me. So even though I was a Christian and, I'm going to die, I'm going to go to this place called heaven. No, this experience gave me that confirmation. And it's hard to explain, but I don't know what I would have been, but I knew that I was still going to be here. And that was one of the first things when I called my mom, because she had to take me to the hospital. I got into the car and I was just crying. I just had tears coming down my eyes. And my mom thought I was crying because I was in pain. But I was so joyful that even if I did die, it was going to be okay because I was still going to be here. And that love that I felt, it was, I feel as if death is going to be better than life. I can assure you that. So if you're worried about passing away, the other side is in a much better state than what we're experiencing right now.
Wow. I wonder if people in the chat room also had this same experience. We've had some people in the chat room that were saying, like Lalita and Chuck were saying that they had a near-death experience and maybe even died and came back. And I wonder if they had that same feeling of calmness about death.
Yes.
Now, would you say that you had a feeling of oneness? Would you describe it in that way? That everything was all one? Because one of the things we talk about in this show, sometimes we talk to people who are talking about non-dualism. Do you think that was the experience that you had? And a lot of times it happens like that, like from a near-death experience or even from severe depression. People will suddenly have this awakening. Do you feel like you had that in that moment?
Oh, absolutely. Again, I didn't even know it was called non-duality. I didn't even know about the word until a year later. I just knew like oneness. I was just connected.
Yeah.
And I realized that when I was looking at another person, they are me. They are me. They're going through the same motions. They're just having a different perspective of everything, but they're still me. And as this progressed over time,
Yeah.
I then started realizing that we're not even human. Like, I'm not a male. I'm not this person. I'm something totally different.
Yeah.
And that's when I start to, not from reading any books, but just understanding that I'm a spirit. I'm consciousness. So it's like, when I'm looking at myself in a mirror, I'm just looking at this mask. That's all that it is. I'm something so much more than this. Everyone is.
Wow. So did you get progressively more knowledge from yourself? Like, do you feel like this is a knowledge that you already had and it was somehow revealed to you? And then do you feel like you gained an increased understanding of it as time went by?
Okay, that's a good question. So I'm going to take us back a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I was going through my divorce, one of the last things my ex-wife said to me was, she said, I settled when I decided to marry you. And I know, right?
Ow.
Like, ooh, right, exactly.
That's harsh.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So that comment stuck with me for months. I mean, it literally stuck with me for months. And I would find myself thinking about it during the daytime. I would find myself thinking about it at night, early in the morning. And I just started to say to myself, but what about now? But what about now? And I just kept saying that to myself to bring me back into the present moment. And again, I wasn't into this type of stuff of being present, focused on what you have right now. I just knew that this was helping me be here right now. So I think that moment in terms of my divorce and me saying, but what about now? But what about now? Me literally saying this hundreds of times, and then me having my near-death experience catapulted me being more conscious of being right here, right now. But in terms of the non-duality, that just came to me. I never read anything up about that. That literally just came to me.
I'm going to play a clip from your channel about being present, and then I'll meet you on the other side. Okay.
Sounds good.
There are approximately 8 million species on this planet. 6 million on land, 2.5 million at sea. And out of all the creatures, humans are the most intelligent. And despite being the most intelligent creatures on this earth, humans have more heart issues, weakened immune systems, mental health challenges, sleep disorders than any other creature. And the main cause of these conditions is worry and stress. And the cause of worry and stress is not living in the present moment. Most humans will never experience the true benefits of living in the present because they spend so little of their lives there. Studies have found that humans live in the present moment 47% of the time. This means we are only experiencing 47% of reality.
All right. Oh, Bloss. Hey, Bloss, checking in with you here. That happens sometimes. You always got to be ready when you're on lunch therapy.
I like that.
Right. Yeah. So we're just checking in with Bloss. Okay. So that was a pretty interesting statistic that you said there. That we're like, I mean, basically, we're only in the present for half the time.
Yep. And actually, the study from Queen's University in Canada, the study actually says 47%.
47% of the time.
Present. Yep.
Wow, those are amazing insights. So, all right. So now you have this experience. You know it in your soul that this is what's going on with the world. Now, then what did you do? Did you find mentors in this? Do you have any mentors that you go to about this?
Okay, so I want to just go back. So when it initially happened, that's when I understood the oneness. as time progressed on, I started getting more insights slowly, but that's when I fully understand oneness at that moment. And then in terms of what happened next, this was pretty cool. So after my accident, I didn't want to take as much medication that was given to me. So I started to go to cryotherapy. Are you familiar with that?
No, tell me about it.
Okay, so cryotherapy, you go into this chamber and it gets negative 230 something degrees Fahrenheit, and it's ice cold.
Yeah.
And you're in there for about a minute. And I was in this machine, the owner at the time, we were talking for a little bit, and he said, you know what? I want to recommend this book to you, and it's called The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle.
And have you read that book?
Yes, it's incredible.
Oh,
And The
okay.
Power of Now. Yeah, I read The Power
Yes.
of Now also.
I
Changed
haven't read The Power of Now.
Oh my gosh, I
but-
have to read it. You're going to have so many
Okay.
like connections when you read that book to what you're talking
Awesome.
about. Yeah.
So, as I mentioned, I was going to be going on this international trip. So he said, hey, I think you'll get this book. He said, don't highlight anything in the book because you're going to highlight the entire book. So,
Yeah.
so I get the book a day before I go to Thailand,
Yeah.
and I'm reading it, and I don't pay attention to them because I'm not thinking that the book's going to be this good, this powerful. So I'm literally highlighting every line in the book. But that helped me understand what I went through in a better perspective. And then later on, I started to get into meditation consistently. I started to get into like spirituality. I mean, it was literally something that just woke up in me at that moment. It might not say in that moment, but as time progressed. And then in terms of a mentor, so I do have a mentor, and it's a woman. Her name is Ragda, but she's my spiritual coach. So she is someone that I talk to, someone who's given me guidance and has helped me through the process in terms of where I am right now.
Yeah. And how did you find Ragda? Did she just appear when you had this, moment in your life, or how did you find her?
Okay, good question. Very good question.
Thanks.
So have you heard of Kundalini yoga?
Of course. Yes.
Okay, perfect. She was hosting this Kundalini yoga event, and I went to the Kundalini yoga event, and I was doing all the exercises, and at the end, we had to do this breath of fire, and we had to put our hands over our head. And while I was doing this breath of fire, I started having these compulsive movements, and I started breathing, and I was conscious with what was going on, but I almost died. So I was perfectly fine just pushing myself to the limit. And while this was all happening, my arms were numb. I couldn't even feel my arms.
Wow.
And it's a group of people, and they're starting to get freaked out with what's going on with me because things are going pretty crazy. What's going on with my body?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she comes over to me. She says, Nathan, breathe. And after that moment, I never had an experience to that magnitude. And I felt like I wanted to just talk to her about what happened to me. So a couple of days later, I reached out to her. I'm talking to her. I told her what was going on. I asked her, what did she see from her perspective? She said, I had something called crab hands, and my hands were like this.
Yeah.
Because all the energy, what I learned is that we have chakras in our hands, and the energy was being released from my hands. And I asked her, what else did she do? And she said, I'm a spiritual coach. And she was telling me how she helps people. I never heard of a spiritual coach. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to ask her to be my spiritual coach. I can't imagine a man asking a woman to be their spiritual coach. That don't make no sense. So, and I was like, you know what?
Wow.
I'm going to give this a shot. Like, I'm going to ask her to be my spiritual coach. I have no idea what a spiritual coach is, what she can help me with. And she initially said I could pay for 3 sessions to get a discount, but I paid for just one. And then after that one session, I realized how much she was able to get me more aligned with who I am. I just started going to her consistently. And a lot of great things happened from that. And it's just amazing how everything's perfect. Like literally everything is perfect. It's always been perfect. It always is perfect. And I'm just so thankful for her.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you found that and you keep finding things now. It's like a door was opened. This is a picture of you, I believe. This is you, right?
Yes, that's me.
That's you at a certain point in your life. And what was
That's
happening
correct.
there when this picture was taken?
So this was before I found my spiritual coach, but this was when I was working at my job. So as I
Yeah.
mentioned, I pretty much lost everything when COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
So I got back into working, and I was a loan officer. And at that time, the mortgage industry was popping.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day I was typically working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Mm.
And this one day I was working, I got hungry around 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I ordered a pizza, and I was still working. And when I worked, I had headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, they were just dropping pizzas off at the front door.
Yeah.
So I got off work at 10 o'clock, forgetting that I ordered the pizza. And I was like, man, I'm hungry. So I went to the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I opened the refrigerator up. I was like, darn it, there's nothing to eat here. I'm about to eat some cereal. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. I ordered some pizza.
Yeah.
So I go to the front door.
Mm-hmm.
I open the door, and I see this black line. And I'm like, what in the world is that? So I look at my cell phone.
Yeah.
I bring on my cell phone light, and it's a line of ants. I open the pizza up. It's covered in ants.
Oh.
The entire pizza.
Oh.
And you know what? I said, enjoy this pizza. I closed the box, and I left the pizza there because I was in such a bad mood.
Yeah.
I was like, they can have it. And then I knew that my job was stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was causing me, I didn't know it was causing me depression, but I knew it was causing me to not be around my family, not be around my friends. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I met with my friend in Tampa for that weekend, and he took that picture of me.
Mm-hmm.
And when he sent it to me, that's when I saw that I actually looked sick for the first time. But prior to that, Joel, I had family members and friends asking me if I was sick. And I was like, why the hell are you guys asking me if I'm
sick? Yeah, interesting.
Right.
That's really interesting. People can totally see it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is going to segue us into, from this discussion, another clip of yours.
There is a generational belief that is robbing people of their joy, causing stress, depression, and debilitating one's potential. And that's the belief that it's better to be safe than sorry. But the truth is, you will be sorry if you play it safe. Today, I'm going to help you become aware of this subconscious belief that lives within you and how it's holding you hostage to being able to make the changes you want in your life.
That's so great. All right. Yeah.
Man,
so, I mean, it kind of ends
That's
abruptly, but that's such a challenge to people. And there's that boss is here again. He keeps popping in here.
Were you guys
Totally my fault. It's totally my fault. Boney, come on now. Boney's so enlightened that he's forgotten to run the
Boney must
show.
be thinking what I'm thinking because
What?
that's such a good phrase. That's a good line. It's
Yeah.
a good quote. It's a very good quote.
Yeah, I
like
love it. Kamala says you look about 15 years younger now. It's true. It's true. So,
Thank you.
okay. So now we're on
and
a
alive, Joel, and alive.
and he looks awfully alive
Energy.
too.
Yeah, he looks alive. You know what I mean? Like he does. It's like he looks alive and vibrant.
Yeah, totally.
That's great stash, though. Great stash.
Great stash.
Thank you.
Greg Wardlow was asking you if you were in a barbershop quartet at the time with that mustache. It's great. I love it. So, okay, so now we're on the train now. We are going to look at like how people can discover the things that you've discovered. One of the things they can do, of course, is watch your YouTube channel, which is at, what is it, Nate the Great 1, right?
Nate the Great 1, or they could just go to nathancook.com and it'll take them directly to my page.
All right, cool. I'm going to
Wait,
put
is
that
it
on
Nate the Great or is it Nate the Great Cook? One.
He's a great cook,
For
too.
the YouTube, for the YouTube is Nate the Great Cook
Yeah.
1, and then for the website it's just nathancook.com.
So I'm going to say, Nate, okay, what's your website called again?
nathancook.com.
Oh, good. I said Nate the Great. Boney, come on. Get in the now.
Right?
Okay, nathancook.com.
There
All
we
right,
go.
got it. Okay, so now let's talk about like what people can do. So just tell us what people can do to be more present. And also, well, we'll talk about that video that we just watched in a minute. But what can people do right now to start changing the way they are present in the world?
Yeah, so one of the things that has been monumental, paramount to my practice is meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And I meditate every morning and I meditate every evening.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
I would recommend meditating at least 20 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
And what that has helped me realize is that the thoughts that are going through my mind,
Mm-hmm.
they're just thoughts.
Yeah.
They hold no value. They only hold value when I give attention to them, because once I give attention to them, that's when they have power. So like the statement goes, where focus goes, attention flows. So that has been the best help for me in terms of realizing that my thoughts are just thoughts. I can choose to give it attention or not.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, I like to say to myself, even today, what about now? When I'm thinking about what someone said to me, what someone did to me, what about now? What about now? And me saying that brings me back into this moment like, yeah, Nathan, what you're thinking about has nothing to do with right now.
Mm-hmm.
So those will be the two things that I would recommend. Meditate. And then when you're not here, but what about now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because this is all there is. And this is why I get so excited about being present, is because I know that this moment that we're experiencing right now has never happened before in life. And it will never happen again.
Yeah.
So being able to be here in this moment, this is our present from the universe to experience what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not perfect. I still think sometimes about the future. I think about the past. But for the most part, I'm just here. And I enjoy being here because I'm not going to be here forever. So
I love
yeah.
that. So, okay, so now about the practical part of it, like what you're saying about the people say better safe than sorry, or everybody's always worried about their future because, you know, they don't want to end up with no money. They don't want to end up not being able to pay their bills, you know, all these stresses of life.
Can I say something, Joel,
Sure.
on top of what you're saying?
Yeah.
I always am not good with the phrase, well, I'm lucky to have a job. You know what I mean? Like settling.
Yeah.
Like you have a dream or you have a passion to do something and you're settling because you have a job that's paying your bills and living the life we're talking about right now. And you settle for your, like, well, I'm lucky to have a job, you know? And you never, a lot of people don't look at it like they're lucky to have you. They're lucky to have you working for them. You know what I mean? You're working for them, making them thousands, millions of dollars, and you're getting a small piece of pie. But what about you? What do you want?
I do.
And I just always, that sticks in my head. And I just wanted to put that on top of what you're saying.
Thanks,
I'm sorry.
boss. Thanks for that. Yeah, so some of these questions that come up, trying to integrate this into your life and live by it, is that difficult? I mean, it's difficult for me. Is it difficult?
Okay,
for you?
could you ask the question just one more time, please?
So basically, I always feel like I have to prepare for the future. Like I've got a show at, you know, a stand-up show tomorrow night. I got to prepare for that, right? So if I were to just show up and be in the now, I don't know exactly what would happen. Maybe I will. But, you know, a lot of times I am stressed about something that's going to happen in the future, and I feel like I need to prepare for it. How do you integrate that into your, you know, idea of life and your philosophy?
Okay, so I think that's a really good question.
Thanks.
In those situations, I focus on being present. So if I know I have to do something in the future,
Yeah.
I'm going to schedule an hour, 2 hours to be fully committed to this task at hand.
Yeah.
There's no multitasking. I don't multitask. So, and I tell people this, like, they say, can't you multitask? No, I don't multitask. I do one thing at a time. And first of all, you're a lot more efficient when you do that. You're going to be able to get things accomplished a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And when your mind is focused on one thing, the neurons in your mind and your brain are going to be more concentrated on that task. So you're going to be able to have more creativity on what you're working on.
Yeah. So you're basically saying be present in the preparation.
Correct. There you go. Absolutely.
That's simple. It's that simple. Yeah. So then what about your job? Like if you're working a crappy job, it makes you feel bad. You have to sit there for 10 hours a day. I don't know anybody who's like this.
Okay.
What do you can't just quit your job. Hey, you can't just quit your job, you know, and because there will be some serious suffering after that. What do you recommend to people like that?
So I would recommend, in terms of their job being crappy, having to work 10 hours a day, I would first make the person realize that they're making that decision that their job is crappy. Because nobody controls their thoughts, nobody controls their emotions except for themselves. Yeah. So they're deciding to perceive that their job is crappy. They're deciding to perceive that their situation is bad. I'm a firm believer in showing gratitude, because when you're thankful for what you do have, you don't worry about what you don't have. Now, we can be grateful and not settle. We can be grateful for what we have. But still have plans to make a change in the future. And the reason why being grateful is so important is because that changes our energy. Versus you saying, oh, I have a crappy job, I have to work 10 hours a day. You're like, I'm thankful that I have this job because I know this is temporary. Just like my life is temporary, this job, this situation is temporary. So I always go back to gratitude when I feel any type of tension going on. I actually... I don't have my beads in here, but I have beads. This is my meditation room, but I have prayer beads. And I use my prayer beads where I just show gratitude. And that helps ease the tension, the stress that we have in our lives. Because again, when you're focused on something negative, it's going to expand. It's just the law of attraction, the law of vibration. That's just how it works.
Interesting. Okay, so we're running out of time. This is so fascinating. I'm just going to check a couple of hummingbird questions just to see.
Okay.
Make sure we do this.
You just answered my question too, Joel.
Yes, he did.
Exact same thing. If you're gratitude for what your job you have, as opposed to, well, I'm lucky to have a job and miserable.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Well, if you're gratified, you have gratification for the job that you have because you know it's temporary.
It serves whatever purpose.
It allows you to be open to what's going to come to you, what you want.
And it also doesn't allow you to go into this resentment mode where you're like, those people are lucky to have me, those jerks, you know what I mean? You know, maybe they are lucky to have you, but you're not in resentment about it.
Correct. And then the way we see the world is based on what's in our mind. Yeah. So once you start being grateful for what you have, you're going to look at your job totally different. It's going to be an entirely different experience, because I can tell you, we can experience a totally different life in the same body if we're willing to change our mind. And it takes some time, but if you're willing to be persistent and consistent, to be willing to stick and stay, and to be committed to working on yourself, we can literally experience something totally different.
Yeah, it's true. You change your mind, change your life, right?
Good mindset. Hummingbird question.
All right. You keep popping up. I don't know why I keep having you pop up.
Phony.
It's like Phony really has to figure this out. Okay, so I want to look at a couple of questions here from people. Okay. Here's something that Greg Wordla said. A neuroscientist, Robert Saplovsky of Stanford, says we've evolved to be smart enough to make ourselves sick. Would you say that that's happening in this world?
Absolutely. I've taken a Dr. Joe Dispenza class, and the things that Dr. Joe talks about is our thoughts can make us sick, but our thoughts can help us get well as at the same time. So not only can we think ourselves into sickness, we can think ourselves into better health.
Yes, that's what I think also. You can think ourselves into better health. That is
absolutely
huge.
Agree. Absolutely agree. And I believe that the body can heal itself too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you allow it to, if you give it health, if you eat properly, if you rest properly, you know what I mean? You could do that. I have
agree.
I'll share it with you later, Nathan. But I have a friend who doctor said she couldn't have a baby, and she used her mind and her health and her diet to take care of herself. A year later, no tumor in her uterus, and had a baby. A beautiful
Wow,
baby.
that's beautiful.
And I'm just saying that I agree with that totally.
All right, guys. So this is what we're going to do now, is we're going to play a song, and we're going to dance. Are you ready for that?
Sounds good.
All right. Are you ready, Bloss? You are going to dance too. And
man.
let's
You
get
know I
this
like to
thing
dance.
going. This is going to be a song from the 80s, one of my favorite songs. It's being covered by a Japanese band. And are you familiar with Herbie Hancock, Nathan Cook?
I am not.
All right. Well, I'm going to make you familiar.
Okay.
All right. Let's
One
do
of the
it.
great jazz musicians.
Yeah, so let's get into this thing. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being on the show. This has been extremely enlightening and just
for having me,
so
Joel.
generous of you
Awesome.
to be here. Please, everyone, go over to his YouTube channel and subscribe. Go to his website, nathancook.com. Let's go on this journey together. I know I'm going to be on this journey with you as you put out videos week after week. And let's dance this thing out. This has been Lunch Therapy, number 441. Woo!
Beautiful.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
All right. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, it's rocking!
Don't you love it? This is one of the great songs of all time. Kinda good. All right. Let's do this. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you, Addis from Japan, for being on our show as well. Yeah. This is kind of a dramatic version of this song. Rocket. Aren't we supposed to say rocket? Does this look like I'm playing the piano?
It does. It does.
I love that. All right, thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for watching the show. We'll see you next week on Lunch Therapy.
Tuesday! Oh, we got a really nice thing coming around Tuesday. We're going to talk about April as Poetry Month.
Poetry Month.
All right. The LA Get Down.